Peace and namaste everyone. My name is Sage and today I'm here to share my ayahuasca journey with you all. I can say without a doubt it was hands down the best decision that I have ever made in my entire life. And I would like to share my ceremony with you all for those who are maybe on the edge of getting into this journey themselves, whether they feel that it's for them or not. Hopefully by the end of this video you can know if this is exactly what you want, because it's a very big step. It's a big step and it's a tough step, but if you have the strength within yourself, I can guarantee that you'll be happy with yourself in the end. It will heal a lot of things within yourself. But first, there's a lot of things that I need to explain about ayahuasca, so buckle up and let's get into it. I would like to structure this video in a way that you know exactly what's going on. You're not lost, you're not trying to figure out what's going on. So I'm going to break it down like this. It's going to be an intro of who I am, next the entire ayahuasca ceremony, then conclusion of that day and the day after, and how I'm feeling now 2 days after my ceremony, and lastly if the ayahuasca experience is for you. So let's start off with who I am. I go by Sage. I have been an avid meditator for about 2.5 years. I was called into it after reading a series of books about meditation and the entire metaphysical concept and spirituality concept. After getting into meditation, I've had a series of spiritual awakenings which has led me down the path to where I am now. So the path of taking ayahuasca to renew and rejuvenate my soul to the point where I am free of all the conditionings and beliefs that society has placed upon me as a soul. In this video, I will probably talk about concepts that you might not be familiar with if you have never done research on these different spiritual concepts. So some of it might be unfamiliar to you, and I ask that if you hear something that is unfamiliar to you, please research it and do some digging into it. I'm not saying take everything that I say for a fact. I'm saying that in your own reality, there are things that are true to you and there are things that are untrue to you. If the things that I say resonate with you, stick with them, research them, and have them sit within your soul and wonder why you are called into such concepts. But if they don't resonate with you, then discard them, leave them alone, don't worry about it. However, we must stay open in our reality bubbles, because the reality is that there are a lot of things that we think we understand that we might not be entirely sure of. We have to keep our minds open to the possibilities of these things actually happening to people. So that is all I ask of you. I'd also like to add that after listening to my experience, please do not expect to have the same experience. Everyone's experience is completely different. For me, I had a very much connected to the universe type of experience, and that is because of the knowledge that I've had about myself, the spiritual healing that I've done already on myself. I've been working on myself for a very long time, and I've pretty much cleared a lot of conditioning that society has already placed upon me. So it allowed for a much more clean and intuitive ceremony for myself. However, everyone is different. So don't think just because I had this experience, you will too. You will have a great healing experience, but it's going to be relative to where you are in life and your understanding of what reality is. In short, your beliefs dictate your reality. So let's start off by talking about what is ayahuasca. Ayahuasca is a spiritual mother plant that is found in South America. I would please ask you to do more extensive research on this, because this is not what this video is about. It would take a very long time to explain what ayahuasca is, but just understand that it's a spiritual mother plant found in South America that is used for healing and cleansing of the soul. People hold ceremonies all over the world, and there's most likely a ceremony held in your location. You just have to do the research for it. Mother Aya always finds a way to connect with the souls who need her the most. So if you find yourself in need, follow the path, research it, figure out how you can present it and bring it to yourself in your life, because it will always manifest when it's time. when it's time, because timing is extremely important. So let's talk about the ceremony now. I had my ceremony in my location, which would be undisclosed for security reasons, to make sure that I'm protected and my location is protected. So I went out to a resort and we basically had the ceremony inside of a pretty massive cabin. There was about 30 of us. Sometimes people get kind of intimidated by the number of people there. As I've previously stated, I'm not one to get intimidated by anything, honestly, and I am pretty grounded in my own self-righteousness, my own strength, my own awareness, my own aura, to the point where I'm not really worried about anyone around me and their experiences. I know that I will always be safe, secure, and grounded, and I know that because of the work I've done on myself. I've done tons and tons and tons of work on myself, and it was very hard. It's been very hard, but I know that once I got to the point where my foundation is strong, I knew I was ready for ayahuasca. And that's exactly what you should do. That's exactly what you need to do. If you feel like this is for you, you need to have a very strong foundation. That doesn't mean be full of ego. That doesn't mean be arrogant. That means that you know who you are as a person. That means that if anything, you're in any type of situation where you feel that you're being manipulated, you cannot be manipulated, because you know who you are. You know your strength. You know how powerful your soul is. You understand that you are a soul having a human experience. You understand that you are not your body. You are a soul. You are a spirit having a human experience. That is absolutely paramount to understanding the world outside of the physical. So when I first got there, I met this amazing guy, and I immediately connected with him. Our souls recognized each other, and we are immediately on the same vibrational frequency. And I cannot explain how amazing and how safe I felt with him as soon as I met him. It was an amazing, wonderful experience, and I'm so grateful for Mother Aya presenting me with such a person in my life for this ceremony. So I went inside, I found my location. Originally I sat in a corner, and they advise new people against that, because if there's anything going wrong, it gets hard for them, the helpers, to get to you, because they have to walk over people to get to you. So they asked me to move a little bit towards the center of the room, and if anything went wrong, then they can get to me easily. So I chose to stay next to the guy that I met, and he introduced me to his friends, and I'm also grateful for meeting them, because they were also amazing souls who helped me feel safe and helped me feel grounded. Now, even though I was already fine, I was good in my own strength and in my own foundation, it is also great to have friends, because friends help with everything. They make everything go by better. And my soul recognized all of them, so that helped me dramatically. So I got there around 7 o'clock. Ceremony started around 10 o'clock, and I didn't actually take ayahuasca until about 11:30. Once I was all settled in, and once the ceremony started around 10 o'clock, the shaman gave her briefing about what to expect on this journey. And I will present the example for you all, because I thought it was very well. She said, in life, if you choose to go to a gym and you're working out and things get intense, you can just stop. You can just get off and go home. But you can't do that on a spiritual workout. There is no getting off. You are in it. So you have to be confident and strong enough to endure whatever is going on. And you need to trust yourself, and trust the plant, and trust the process. Trusting the process is important, because once you are in it, there can be a whole list of things that you are experiencing, from intense vibrations to intense visual experiences to intense sounds. Everything can be so overwhelming, and it can really rattle you if you are very controlling as a person. I'm sorry to say that, but it's true. If you're a very controlling person, you might have a bad time on this experience. If you never had a moment where you were able to trust yourself, you might have a bad time on this experience. However, if you're someone who's been doing the work on yourself, this is going to be the greatest experience that you ever had. This is going to be the greatest healing that you've ever had. But you absolutely have to trust the process. You have to trust the plant. You have to trust that this is going to be okay. This is going to work out for you. When the shaman was done giving her briefing, a shell was being passed around. And in this shell, there was sage, another plant that is like sage, and tobacco. Now, tobacco is also used in South America. In South America, they use the tobacco to, I believe, intensify the experience. I chose not to use the tobacco. I chose to just use the sage and douse myself in the sage. However, they also went around and also doused everyone else in the sage as well. So there's a lot of sage in the room. It smelled very nice, and sage is also used to basically purify the air, ward away dark spirits, and create a safe environment for you. And I definitely felt safe. Also, when the shell came to you, you needed to state your name and your intentions for the night. Stating your intentions for the night is important because you're in this room with a bunch of other people. You want to make sure that their intentions are good, their intentions are clear, and they're there for the right reasons. They're going to be on this trip with you. They're going to be on this journey with you. You are basically a family right now, and you need to at least have somewhat of a connection with the family, connection with everyone else in the room. When the shell came to me, I stated my name, I stated my intentions. To put it short, I said I was there for healing, clarity, focus, and to understand my purpose and direction in life. Gave up the shell, went to the next person. That went on for about an hour, 15 minutes. Next, they did the dousing of the sage. Then after that, we went up there and we drank the ayahuasca. How that went was that we went up there to the little altar. We kneeled. She passed us a cup. It was about this big, if you can imagine, a shot glass full of ayahuasca. We held it. We prayed over it for a brief moment of time. We sent our energy into it, and then we drank it. And then I went back to my seat. I sat down, and I just waited for everything to kick in. She said it could take about 15 minutes to an hour long to kick in. For me, it was the hour long. It might not be like that for everyone else. I know someone else was there, and pretty much as soon as she drank it, 5 minutes later she was throwing up. But I wasn't like that. And in my mind, I was also like, I don't really want to be the first one to throw up. Now, that's not really a big deal, but I don't know, in my head I was just like, I don't want to be the first one to throw up, you know. I guess I didn't want to be seen as, you know, like, oh, he can't take it, he's a newbie, he can't, you know, hold his own. But that's not really important. So the ayahuasca took about an hour to kick in, and in that moment, in that hour, I was kind of having doubts. I was having, you know, moments where I was like, well, is my body weight too much? Did I not drink enough? Is this actually gonna work? But rest assured, it works. It just takes a little while to work through you. Mother Aya is a conscious plant. It's a conscious being, and it's very important that you have patience with it. As soon as I took the ayahuasca, I also was reciting my mantra. I said, this is going to be a healing experience. This is going to be a great experience. My body will not resist ayahuasca. My body will be one with ayahuasca. I will not resist ayahuasca. I am calm. I am strong. I am complete in my resolve. I am calm. I am strong. My body would not resist ayahuasca. And I kept going with that. I kept saying that over and over again. And I personally believe that mantras are extremely important. I believe that they are very important outside of ayahuasca, just in life in general, because how the subconscious mind works is that it works through repetition. The longer you work on something and the longer you do something, even out of habit, the longer it sticks with you. So that's why people can develop addictions as well, is because they're so used to doing this one thing so much that it just becomes a habit. Well, you can do that with a mantra as well, and the mantra will sink into your subconscious mind. It will create that foundation for yourself. When it finally kicked in, it was more psychological than anything else. I was having a conversation with Mother Ayahuasca, and by that time, I knew it was Mother Ayahuasca because I was answering questions in a way that I've never really answered them before. They were very clear, they're very thought out, they're very focused, and they were very direct. And that also is how I knew that it kicked in, because I would ask myself a question and I would immediately doubt myself. And Mother Aya would say, well, why are you doubting yourself? What basis do you have to doubt yourself? What is the foundation for your doubt? Why are you doing this? And I didn't know. I didn't have a good answer for it. It's just what I've learned to do in life, because I've been doubting myself for so long. But I can tell you where self-doubt comes from. Self-doubt comes from when you're a child and someone tells you that you're wrong about something. At least in my experience, let's say I was in school and I thought I had the right answer, and I say that answer and it was wrong, and now I've just exposed myself and I'm vulnerable now because other kids might be teasing me and saying that I'm dumb and I'm stupid, and what do I know? Now every time I want to answer a question, I won't, because I'll immediately self-doubt that that's right. I'll doubt that that's the right answer. And it might not even happen in school. It could happen with your parents. It could happen with anything that you do in life. You might become afraid to make choices because you'll fear being wrong. And that was the conditioning that I had in my life, and that is what Mother Aya brought to my attention. She brought that to my attention and said, there is no need to doubt yourself. That is a distraction. Let it go. And that's when I had my first purge. So my first throw up, I knew immediately that it was self-doubt. And the way purging works is that Mother Aya connects with your mind in a way that you know what you're throwing up. Each time I threw up, I knew what I was throwing up. The first time, it was self-doubt, and if I could put this under umbrella, I was pretty much throwing up all insecurities. Now, purging insecurities is important because our insecurities are what hold us back in life. Our insecurities are what prevent us from being the best us that we can possibly be. Our insecurities are what stagnates our growth. It prevents us from being creative. It prevents us from being loving. It prevents us from doing a lot of things. And it's important to purge this out of you because it's just simply holding you back. So over the course of the entire experience, you can expect to throw up your insecurities. All of that baggage that you've been carrying throughout your life, all of those conditionings, all those beliefs that you have about yourself, expect to throw those up, but you would not throw them up if you are resistant towards them. If you firmly believe them about yourself, it's going to be very hard for Mother Aya to pull it out of you because you still think that this is what you are, this is what you deserve, and this is what you belong. This is what belongs to you. And that's incorrect. That's absolutely incorrect. Release it. Let it go. Throw it up. It serves you no purpose anymore. Let it go. So the next thing that Aya taught me about was the power of the tongue. There's so much power in the things that we say. There's so much power in the words and how we say it. There's a reason why actors are some of the highest paid people on this planet. Is because they can portray emotions so well that it can move you to tears. So understand this, there is power in the things that you say about yourself. So if you say, I'm so fucking stupid, I can't do anything right, why can't I do anything right, I'm so dumb, I'm so afraid of doing something because what if I'm wrong? Well, listen to me. If you say those things about yourself, you will believe them to be true, even if you think that you won't believe them to be true. Your subconscious mind will believe it to be true about yourself. So you have to watch what you say about yourself, and don't just say, okay, I won't, it's fine. It's just how I've been talking to myself for a long time. Well, why do you think that you might be in a situation that you are now? Because you've been saying these things about yourself for such a long time. You never want to put yourself in that type of position. You never want to put yourself in a position where you're berating yourself and saying bad things about yourself. That's never where you want to be. And even something as simple as saying, I don't know. Let's just say, I'm not sure. Because in the future, you will know things. You will know a lot of things. And we want to avoid the phrase, I don't know, because in the future, it might create a possibility that we will have forgetfulness. You never want to have forgetfulness. Forgetfulness is conditioning. Honestly, you can remember any and everything that you want to when you need to remember it, as long as you have the belief that you can remember it. But a lot of times we say, I forgot, I don't know, things like that. We can simply say, I'm not sure right now, but I will know later. That's easy. That's easy to say. and it conditions us to step out of the phase of being okay with not knowing something, being okay with forgetting something, and stepping into the phase of saying that I will have the knowing later. I will have the knowing that I need later on. The next thing that happened was I realized my connection to my son. So with my son, we had this soul connection, this soul bond, that every single lifetime that we had together, I was either the father and he was the son, or he was the father and I was the son. And we bounced around like that, teaching each other things about life and educating each other about things and helping each other grow. And you have people like that in your lifetime. You have soul family like that in your lifetime. Let's say that in this lifetime your mother is your mother, but in your previous lifetime your mother was your sister and you were the mother, or you were the father. It could be any variable, but we have to let go of this belief that, you know, it's impossible for me to be a woman, it's impossible for me to be a man. You are first and foremost a soul, a genderless soul. You are not your body. So in any lifetime you could be anything, including animals. You have the ability to be anything. Remember that. It's important to letting go, and if you plan on experiencing past lives on ayahuasca, it's going to be very difficult if you have a strong ego. So for the next half of this video, I talk about some very personal stuff, some very stuff that remains true to me and myself and my own reality. If you feel like you really don't have an open mind about things like ETs, extraterrestrials, out-of-body experiences, metaphysical stuff of that nature, I would advise you to skip forward to the later half of this video, in which I talk about if ayahuasca is for you. But if you find those things interesting, let's dive into it. So I've told very few people about this experience that I've had as a child, and it's mostly because I've always been afraid of telling people about it, because I've always been afraid of being ridiculed and made fun of and being called a crazy person and this, that, and the other. Well, I can safely say that I no longer care about that. I am not here to cater to you and your beliefs and your belief systems and your reality. I'm here to tell you about my experiences, and everything that I've been through is real. I would have no reason to make this shit up. I have no reason to lie about this. I have nothing to gain from this. Remember that, because everything I'm about to tell you is real. So, when I was a child, I had these series of events, these series of experiences in which I would wake up tossing and turning at night, and I had some very serious trauma, and I really didn't understand what happened. Fast forward to the future, I had a few series of dreams in which I was taken from my bed and I was put aboard this aircraft, and I was on this very cold steel bed being operated on. In short, I was basically abducted by the gray aliens that you might see and that you've seen on television, and they're the most common aliens that you see with the gray skin and the big eyes. So I'll break it down for you like this. The gray ETs, the gray aliens, are a species who are basically created. They are a robotic species, and there are multiple types of grays. They're not just one group of grays, just like there are multiple types of humans that are from different backgrounds and ethnicities. But these specific grays are robotic in nature, and they are programmable. They were programmed by malicious beings who have evil intent. I won't go into who those beings are because it's really not important right now, but maybe I'll talk about that in a different video. But right now, it's important to explain what happened to me. As I was abducted a few times as a child, they put this implant inside of my hand. This implant is an energetic and ethereal implant. The purpose of this implant is to contain the host. Contain meaning limit the host from growing. To put it simply, it just tries to prevent you from going on that spiritual path and working on yourself. It's there to keep you distracted. It's there to keep you send thoughts to you and try to, dissuade you from working on yourself. But in the end, nothing can prevent you from growing. Only you can prevent you from growing. Nothing can prevent me from growing. Only I can prevent me from growing. So, a few times as a child, I would be picked up from my bed. They have the technology to just take you from your bed, phase you through the walls, and bring you aboard their craft. Unfortunately, when this was happening, I was wide awake as a child, and it's created a very traumatizing experience within my subconscious mind, because I was wide awake when this was happening. I was wide awake as they were operating on me, and it was very painful. It was very, very painful. And even going back to those memories is very painful for me. So you can understand why this is very hard for me to talk about. Anytime I've talked about this, I've been somewhat just ridiculed as, well, how do you know it's real? How do you know you didn't make this up in your head? Sometimes people don't even think about what they say to you. Why the fuck would I make this up in my head? Are you serious? Think I'm some kind of schizophrenic or some shit? Like, this shit has happened to me. This is real. This is real traumatizing experiences. There are plenty of people on YouTube who have posted videos about the same damn thing happening to them. The same damn thing happening to them. So no, I didn't make this up. This is real. And unfortunately, I had to work through that trauma. I had to work through it. I had to move through it and let it go. And I've also already worked through this trauma. I've already worked through letting it go and accepting it happening and forgiving them. I've done this already in the past. But the thing about trauma is that even when you try to work through it, sometimes it's really hard to fully let it go. And this is another reason why I want to take ayahuasca, was to fully let everything that I've been holding on to go. So that's my experience with that abduction. It's possible that I'll talk about it more in the future, but right now I just want to keep this video brief as possible. So the next question I asked the Aya was, well, why are humans so complacent? Why do we forget so much? Why do we have lessons that we learn from, and we continue to learn from them continuously until the day that we die? Why are we so hard-headed, to put it simply? And she said, well, it's because that we're not maximizing our DNA usage. We're not maximizing our potential. We're not doing the work on ourselves. We're not taking good care of our body. We're not taking good care of our mind, body, and soul. We treat our bodies like there's some second thought. We treat them how we treat the planet. Unfortunately, how we treat the planet is a reflection of how we treat our bodies, and it shows. And unfortunately, until we continue to do the work on ourselves, we're gonna just keep running around in circles, learning the same lessons that we learned again and again and again, reincarnating to learn the same lessons again and again and again, until we finally take responsibility of our own lives, take control, create our own belief systems, stop giving in to the peer pressure of society, and dictate our own futures, create our own realities. Be open-minded in nature and stop doubting everything. Stop controlling how you feel everything needs to be presented to you. A lot of people will believe things if it's presented to them in a very specific way that correlates to their belief system. They say, well, I'll believe it if I experience it, I see it with my own eyes. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. That's absolutely fine. Seeing is believing. However, you need to be open-minded about how the information comes to you. If you have a very specific way that you want something to come to you and occur to you, most of the time it won't. It won't happen that way. And you'll never experience it because you're stuck in self-doubt. If you find yourself being one of those people where seeing is believing, I guarantee you that ayahuasca is what you need in your life. Seeing is absolutely believing. And for me, I was never really that seeing is believing type person. I was when I was younger, but after I started to meditate, I started to experience things that I simply could not explain. So seeing is believing was never really my thing. I was always more of an intuitive person. I knew things, and because of the work I've done on myself, allowing myself to know things has created abundance for myself. About 3 hours into the first cup, I was offered another cup, and at first I was very reluctant because I already felt like this experience is extremely intense. It's it started to become intense visually, emotionally. Everything was just becoming very intense. But it started to die down by the time she offered me a second cup, and I thought, well, I didn't come here to half-ass this. And I was also feeling more up to it. And I know that absolutely has to do with ayahuasca, because she can control how you feel, essentially. So she can dial it back and push it forward when she needs to. So she kind of dialed it back for me to the point where I actually considered taking the second cup, and I was like, all right, I'll do it. So I took the second cup, and that's when I pretty much had the full-on ayahuasca experience. I went from a 3 to a 7, and I say a 7 because I knew that there was still a bit of resistance within me, and I could go beyond that, and I probably will go beyond that next time, because I won't be having all this resistance within me. But for now, a 6 or 7 was exactly what I needed. So the most important part of this journey for me was when the second cup finally kicked in. 15 minutes to 30 minutes later, I started to have absolutely intense visuals. I didn't have the visions like everyone else did, and that also has to do with the implant in my hand. It kind of dulls down and nullifies some of the things that I experience in the vision aspect of things, but it doesn't affect or impair my intuition and my ability to have empathy. So visually, things became extremely intense. I'm talking full-on vibrations, and I'm seeing vibrations, and everything is kind of echoing, and that's a good analogy for it, because even the things that I was hearing had an echo to them, and the echo would go on for at least 5 times. Like, I would hear someone cough, and it would, and it makes sense now, because as the vibrations were going outwards, I can see them within my hand, and as I was looking around the room. And then Mother Aya said, this is what it means, that everything is vibration. And I finally understood that, because I've always had this deep connection to the phrase, everything is vibration. I believe in quantum theory and string theory, or quantum physics. They say that everything has a vibratory rate. And I always thought that to be true, but I finally got to experience and see that for myself. And it was beautiful. It was absolutely magnificent to see and experience and connect with. And for the first time in my life, I felt that I was connected to everything, every object, every person, every atom, every molecule, all of the grass, the trees, everything. I was connected to it all. And I know I can go beyond that and have an even deeper and tensions and connection with it next time. But for what I experienced right then and there, it was great, because at a point in time I did start to feel a little nauseous, honestly. The vibrations were so intense that it was kind of nauseating, you know. It was very like, whoa, what is going on? And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I didn't just take it, you know, I didn't just drink ayahuasca. But it was very intense, but it was the right level of intensity. And I'll tell you why it was the right level of intensity. It was the right level of intensity because at a point in time, I remember getting up and saying that this is just, whoa, like I need to stand up, because this is becoming very nauseating and I'm getting very dizzy. I need to walk to the bathroom. So I walked to the bathroom and I looked in the mirror and I was like, I know who I am. I am Kantar. I am Kantar. And you might not understand why that's so important, but that's very important to me, because I finally understood who I was. I finally knew who I was beyond understanding, beyond thinking. I knew who I was. I knew where I came from. So I went back to my sleeping bag. I sat down and I looked around the room, and Mother Aya said, "Who are you?" I said, "I am Kantar." "From where?" And then I started listing off these constellations: the Pleiades, Alpha Centauri, Arcturus, Orion. "Where else?" She said, "Where else?" I said, "Earth." She said, "That's right. You are of Earth this lifetime. You are Earth delegate, and you are here to do the Earth work." And that's important because a lot of soul-searching people are always looking towards the stars, saying that they're from this planet and this planet, when your soul might have had lifetimes in those constellations. But right now, you are from Earth. You are representing Earth, and you are here to do the Earth work. So you need to be grounded with the Earth and do the Earth work. Do the work on yourself. So for the first time in my life, I can definitely say that I had a level 1 ego death. I didn't have a full-blown ego death. In my opinion, a full-blown ego death is when you completely lose your sense of self and you completely are one with all of your surroundings, all of everything around you, and you become at peace with everything. For me, my level 1 ego death meant that I lost everything that I believed that I was. All the conditionings, all the negative beliefs, all the insecurities, I dropped all of those. I dropped them all into a bucket, threw them up, and I was reborn anew. I was reborn as the person that I have always wanted to be. I feel like I haven't addressed why this experience is so profound yet. It was so profound because I was finally able to realize my fullest potential and realize how I've been holding myself back from being the absolute best person that I could possibly be. I don't have any of these distractions anymore, any of those self-doubts, the immediate self-doubts, the immediate insecurities. I don't have that anymore. And I want to be specific when I say I don't have that anymore. I don't have the deep-rooted beliefs systems in myself that had foundations within myself. That doesn't mean that I'm never going to second guess, and that doesn't mean I'm going to doubt myself anymore. There have been times since after this ceremony that a self-doubt might kick in, but it doesn't have foundation anymore, so I can immediately dismiss it. I can immediately get rid of it because it's not true. Now, that level of self-doubt reoccurs out of habit, and that happens because I've been doing it for so long. So don't expect to have one ceremony and everything will be okay, everything will be healed, and everything will be fine. There's reasons why people have multiple ceremonies. That's because they have to get rid of the years and years and years of baggage that they've been carrying around. Once you get rid of the foundation of your insecurities, it'll be easier to let them go when they do pop up, when they do flare up. So don't think of ayahuasca as this get out of jail free card that you're gonna be using, and you're gonna take it once and it's just gonna be, everything's gonna be fucking magical again. It's gonna help, it really is, but you still have to do the work on yourself. You still have to take responsibility for your life. You still have to eat the right things. You still need to meditate. You still need to conduct the proper hygiene or whatever you want to call it. Like, you still need to do the work on yourself. You still need to educate yourself. So Mother Aya really wanted me to stress that, because too many people think that, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna take ayahuasca and it's gonna change everything. And it will change everything, but it's not gonna change everything in the aspect of that you might be thinking. There's still gonna be work that you need to do on yourself. And the most important work is the work that you're going to be doing on yourself. Guaranteed. You can't be there waiting for someone to force you to do things. You can't be sitting there waiting for someone to come around and change your life. There are going to be people who come into your life who might give you ideas and hints about doing certain things that might lead you in the right direction. But if you doubt that direction, you're just not going to end up following that path. You're not going to follow that path. You can't wait for someone to force your hand. You have to do it yourself. You have to take responsibility of your life and take it into your own hands. Ayahuasca will not force you to be a better person if you are not a better person already. She will present all of your problems to you so you can resolve them yourself. Don't think that you're going to take this and she's going to just do everything for you. You have to work with her. You have to work with ayahuasca, the mother plant. You have to work with her. That's what's most important to know. So if you're someone who's lazy and complacent and you think you're just going to take this, that, and she's just going to do everything for you without you doing anything, you're wrong. You're completely wrong, and you are not ready for this experience. If you're someone with a strong ego, you're not ready for this experience, because it's going to blow the lid off of your ego. It's going to blow the lid off of everything that you think is reality. And that might sound scary, and it probably will be scary for you, but If you start meditating and doing the work on yourself and doing the research for yourself, there's nothing to fear. There's absolutely nothing to fear at all. There's zero to fear, because she's going to help you understand yourself better than you have ever understood yourself in your entire life. If you find yourself being this type of person who follows what you see on media to the T, you are very deep-rooted in social constructs. If you find yourself being this type of person who believes everything that you see on the media, and you're very deep in social constructs, and you're very deep in the social interactions and how these humans interact with each other, and how displaced and disjointed everyone is, and how everyone is so disconnected from each other, you might have a rude awakening waiting for you if you try to take this. But that doesn't mean fear it. That means that if you are ready to understand who you truly are without fear, without conditioning, without beliefs, then this is for you. That's how you know this is for you. If you're a very fearful person, you need to do more research, and you need to get rid of that fear, because that fear serves no purpose for you. It serves no purpose for you. It absolutely will hold you back, and you think it's there to keep you safe, that fear, but it's not. It's holding you back. It's completely holding you back. So get rid of that fear if you feel like you might be interested in ayahuasca. Secondly, if you find yourself always being this person who's always been doing some soul searching, you've always felt like you have a higher purpose in life, you always felt connected to the stars when you look out at the stars at night, you feel connected to the universe when you look out at the universe at night, you felt this strong calling to you, and this calling, it's just been there for a long time, and you're just trying to figure out what that calling is, then ayahuasca is definitely for you. And it's definitely ayahuasca who is calling you to help you understand what your purpose is in life. So this is the second day after I've taken ayahuasca, and each day that I've waken up, I've been feeling amazing. I've been feeling so clear. I have no fog. I know exactly what I want to do. I get it done. I've been knocking out things left and right. I've been eating right. I've been working out. It's just created such a clear awareness within me that I'm no longer distracted. I don't need to give into the things that I used to do. And something that might happen after your experiences, you might feel like there might be a little fear of slipping back and going back into old habits and old ways. Well, I can guarantee you that that's just a thought. It will not happen if you don't want it to happen. It's almost impossible to happen if you knew what has taken place. If you know the healing that has taken place, it's not going to happen. It's absolutely not going to happen. One thing I can say for sure that has changed since my ayahuasca experience is that very often I would feel this pain within my heart. I would feel this disconnect for everyone around me, including myself. I would have this very slight depression, very, very slight depression, and I wouldn't really understand why this is happening. Why do I feel so disconnected from everyone? And I firmly know that ayahuasca has reconnected me with my source, my heart, my soul, and that has allowed me to have empathy and connection to everyone else around me. I don't wake up anymore tired and sad and just in pain, it's just gone. It's gone. And that's the most wonderful thing to wake up to every morning that I get to look forward to. I really want to talk about fear right now, because fear is what I hear from a lot of people. It keeps so many people from growing as a person, as a individual in society. It keeps so many people from following their dreams, their passions, and everything else of that nature. So let me talk about fear right now. I know a lot of people who are interested in taking ayahuasca, but they have a lot of fear in their heart. They have a lot of fear of what they might see, what they might experience, the trauma that might come up. Drop the fear. It serves no purpose for you. Please. Fear is conditioning. It doesn't do anything good for you right now. There might be a situation where you feel like fear has been beneficial for you. Well, fear in the future will not be beneficial for you at all. It will not be at all. So drop it. Let it go. Don't give in to fear. Give in to love. Give in to trust. Give in to truth. So going forward, I would like to make more videos about ayahuasca. I would like to make more videos about my spiritual journey. I'll make a part 2 video in which I'll talk more about things like Atlantis, Lemuria, the Lyrans, how life was in Atlantis, different star constellations, how life were in those areas. But for the sake of keeping this video short, I really just want to focus on my shorthand experience with ayahuasca and how it created such a clarity within myself, and how it can also do the same thing for you if you allow it to, if you're open to it, and if you're receptive to the healing, trusting yourself and trusting the plant. To all those who watched this entire video, I want to thank you very much for listening, and hopefully if you found this interesting, then maybe you'll find part 2 interesting, and just subscribe to my channel and you'll see a lot more of me. Thank you. Namaste. Peace.